Yeah, this is update on the Harley-Davidson. I'm just took it out after putting some new tires on and everything, and I just want to go over some tips on some things because I don't know. I guess I was riding a while, and wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a rider that just parked my bike in the garage and took it out on the weekends with, and go drinking, and I basically used it for transportation. There were 61 mile, 120 miles round trip to work. Heavy traffic lights, weather, and all kinds of stuff like that. Did that for a while, saved some money on gas. So I'm going to tell you a few things. First off, you got a Harley, you got a nice fork lock. Even though it's simple, just put the biggest damn lock in there you can get. And I use a master lock. It's like a security type lock. Now I know this is like a cheap cable, but this cable has some length to it, and you can loop it around anything, big or small. It just keeps somebody from just throwing a bike in the back of a truck. They'd actually have to cut the cable. Another thing, I know in Florida they don't have the helmet laws anymore, pretty much. California, they didn't have them, and I think in the 90s they started putting out helmet laws in California. Unbelievable. But what I do is I always put a half helmet, and I got some like glasses in here. They wrap around. This is how I put them. I just use 2 bungee cords, and with the shoelaces in between, so the bungee cords can't slip off, and they go through the tail lights. Simple. Now some of the stuff I do, like for instance on a helmet, you got those damn D-rings. I always use the quick disconnects. You can put them on there. Once you put them on there, they're adjusted for your head, your chin length. You just push it in and you squeeze them together and release it. It's a hell of a lot easier. And I always, simple as crap. And I got a few helmets, like this helmet I used in 40-degree weather. Best thing about it, I think it's made in Switzerland, Kiwi. It's got this thing, a chin thing underneath it, so the air doesn't blow up underneath there. That's a pretty good thing. Now, I don't care, if you're always looking, you're better off having goggles than fucking around with sunglasses, man. I know I've seen the movies and people wear sunglasses and shit. Goggles is 100 times better, and I always use gauntlet gloves that go over the, actually I wear the full leathers all the time. Now, I want to point out something else. Sometimes when the weather is so freaking screwed up, you got to be doing like 20 miles an hour and the rain is all screwed up, you can't wear those goggles. You can't wear any eye protection. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and this is from my experience. You turn your head to the side and you look out the corner. You basically look out that way from the side. Don't look straight on. You get blasted, you won't be able to see shit. You will not be able, I'm talking about really heavy weather where the cars are going about 20 miles an hour and stuff like that because of fog and because of heavy rain. You just can't use the glasses. You can't use the face shield or anything like that. You got to turn your head to the side. And I'm telling you, that's what works. That's from my experience. So I'm passing on some tips you probably won't get on YouTube. Now, the other thing I take with me, these are all in a saddlebag. This is basically like a Gore-Tex type thing with fleece on it. It's actually for bicycles. Wear it like a mask so air doesn't blow down your shirt. Now, if it gets really crazy out there, I'm afraid I'm going to get killed by somebody. I got the safety vest. I mean, say it's like super foggy at night and it's got a bunch of rain coming in on and off, I'll put that sucker on. Now, the other thing is I always keep the rain vest with me. Just all in the saddlebag. Like I don't want to make it sound like it's horrible, but you should have these things because if you're on a bike, you're screwed. It's not just for rain. The weather temperature changes, gets down to even 60 degrees, you're doing about 50 miles an hour, you'll freeze your ass off. So you need this as a windbreaker. Now something else I do, tires, right? You can get a flat. I always take a can of Fix-A-Flat with me. This is a tire repair kit. You ream out the hull and you push in, the repair. Then I'll fill it up with Fix-A-Flat. And I also have this thing. It's a little bicycle pump. You got to pump it up about 3,000 times before you pump up a motorcycle tire, but you can do it. Now, today you got a cell phone, so maybe that's cool. Another thing I do, this is a locking gas cap. If I park the bike someplace, a lot of times I'll put this on, I'll take the other cap off. And since I don't trust electronic ignitions, this is a point setup for a Harley-Davidson. One wire. Basically I got it on there with, you know, the wire that's hooked up to the rotor, the pickup on the stock electronic ignition. Basically it's on here with like a little twist thing, you know, with some glue in there, which super weather strip adhesive. I could just, you know, it's an electrical twister, and I could just unhook that, put this thing in it, static time it, and get going if the electronic ignition craps out. So I wanted to pass on a few tips. And also this bike will go in the back of the El Camino. It fits right back here. As a matter of fact, I got a ramp for it. I made out of some pressure treated wood. It's ancient, still works. Just give it some gas. It fits perfectly, like from one corner to the other corner, and you got these tie downs around here. So that's how I can, you know, transport the bike if I had to like transport it someplace. And just to get a little feedback on forks, trying out this stuff with the fork AT205 reseal. I don't know, I got to give it a chance, but you know, I see some oil here, so this one's leaking, you know, and I'm not sure because I really haven't ridden it that far, so we'll find out. Now what I got coming in, some risers. These are 4-inch risers. I'm going to bring it up another 1.5 inch, 5.5 inch risers. Probably got to get a speedometer cable, and the reason is basically this cable up here will touch the gas tank. You know, this was just a real quick spray can job that was done on here probably about 10 years ago, but I used the urethane, and real fast, still on there, man. It didn't screw up, so leave it the hell alone. The other thing I want to point out on these helmets, you know, you don't need to be buying these visors all the time. You can polish these out, not just by hand, but use a machine, and use wax on them in the machine. You can use like the polishing bonnet on a drill, or like the main power buffer. If you really polish these things out, they last. This thing is on here for years and years and years and years, and is absolutely perfectly fine. There's no problem with it. So another thing I do on the bike, so I don't feel like rebuilding engines all the time, is I'll put a little bit of Marvel mystery oil in it. I've always had this can laying around. It's an ancient can, but I keep filling it up because it's steel. It fits in the saddlebag just fine. I put a dash of Marvel mystery oil in the gas, and that's to keep the upper cylinders like lubed up really good, so you know you can get a lot of life out of these things. So I want to point this out because I think gasoline's going to be costing a hell of a lot of money, and you know, possibly some of these predictions about, you know, people talking about gas prices going up because of conflict in the Middle East. Well, these motorcycles aren't so bad, actually, to tell you the truth, but there's certain things you got to really watch for, and I'm going to go over some safety tips and different things like that. I was pretty surprised, you know, I haven't taken this thing out in a number of years. Took it out today, did like a U-turn in the street, some other turns and stuff like that, and it seems like, you know, I'm going to be cautious when I'm getting broken back in again, me, but it seems like, you know, you don't lose those skills. It's pretty wild, you know. It's like you really just go on it like you never left it. So just want to keep passing on some tips because I think this is going to be a hot item in the United States. And I would recommend a Harley-Davidson if you could find one that is not like in such primo perfect condition, because when they're in primo perfect condition they cost too much money. But these parts for these bikes are available all over the place, and just even like the Sportster has you know, separate transmission oil versus from the engine oil, the push rod system and stuff. I think it's a lot better, you know, air cooled. It's simpler. So I'm going to keep passing on some of these tips because I think it's actually practical to use these things. These aren't just for toys for recreation.